Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another kind of vlogmas thing, but I guess it's kind of something that's going to be around all the time anyway. Today I am reacting to some of my older artwork, or not really reacting to, but we're going to take a look at some of my older artwork because a lot of you guys always ask me about my journey. I've shared it previously. I'm going to leave some videos in the description below that I've released recently talking about my journey from where I started to now, and I've never really showed any kind of the artwork. I've talked about it, but I've not really showed it. So I thought that that is what we could do today. So I really hope that you enjoy this and you can kind of see my journey, what I've gone through. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but let's take a look at some older artwork. Okay, so what I decided to do here, instead of trawling through my troves of artwork, because I don't actually have that many because I sold a lot of these things, I thought I would just look on my Facebook page because that is primarily where I have uploaded all of my older artworks. So, my very first artwork that I created, I used to start in oil paints, if you don't know. I used to do oil paints and I thought that was what I wanted to do because I looked a lot at Jason Morgan and I really liked his style of stuff and I was kind of trying to emulate that. So, this first one is kind of based on that. Now, this, I like it. I like it because for a first oil painting, I don't think it's bad. I've got good colour mixing, I think, and some good variations, but there's no depth. There's nothing about this that is oh yeah, look at the dimensions of the face. It's got no shading towards the back of the ears or anything. It's got a little bit of shading around the nose, but also the dark areas are not blended in at all. But then this was my very first attempt at art, coming back to it from I stopped doing art when I finished school about 17, and this, I think I was about 21 when I did this, so it was like a 4-year hiatus kind of thing. So this was my very first piece, but look at the white fur. I didn't use a small enough brush. I was limited on supplies, didn't have a small enough brush, and yeah, I didn't blend those white strokes in at all. And I was kind of going along the lines of maybe going from dark to light. I don't know what I was doing here, because obviously you can layer darker colours and lighter colours with paint. But yeah, that's the first one. I did a series of oil paintings, and the next one I did, I was actually not displeased with this next one. Do I have a finished picture of it? I don't think so. I think this is just it. This is it in progress. But I did these zebra, and I really like the reflection in the water. I think that is the best part about this, is just that reflection. The actual zebras themselves, not fantastic. There's a little bit of shading and a little bit of depth more to this one than the other one. But this one still isn't great. Then I moved on to, I'm just going to scroll up, I'm not going to show you each of them, but did a jaguar in the same kind of style as the tiger, the very first tiger. Again, the fur strokes and everything have kind of got a bit more refined and a lot smaller, but yeah, the dark strokes are kind of blended in some more. It's got some more shading and stuff, but it's still not fantastic. You can see I put this up for sale for £100. I was a bit ambitious then, I think. It did take me a long time to do these oil paintings though, because obviously you've got to wait for it to dry and all of that kind of stuff. So then I decided that oil painting wasn't working out for me, so I switched to I bought some pastels and some coloured pencils, and then I decided to try them both out together. Well, not on the same piece, but I was using pastels and pencils at the same time. So this was one of my first attempts with some, I think they were Derwent pastel pencils. Yeah, I decided to try a tiger. I didn't actually finish this one, so there's not a finished thing, but this was in progress. And yeah, there's good development from the oil painting to this pastel pencil portrait thing, but I didn't finish this one. But this is just a little play with pastels when I thought that I might enjoy them, but I didn't actually fully enjoy them. I also thought that I would try pastels doing landscapes, so there's a couple of landscape pieces. This isn't too bad. This is where I live. I just decided to draw some landscapes of some local areas because I had a lot of local people following my page at the time. A bit more of a moody one. I actually prefer this one over the colourful one. This is another, again, looking at an area over where I live. It's called the Warren down here, and I actually quite like this one. I'm not upset with this one. I like the contrast with the sky and everything. I quite like this one. But my very first pencil portrait was actually this one, which is kind of like stylized. Not sure that I like it. Like, there's good colour depth in the ear and shading and stuff, but it's not up to like the standard that I'm at the moment. But I don't think this is bad for, you know, your first attempt at pencils. Yeah, then I decided to try graphite. So I actually drew my own dog. So this is him. I am not fantastic at graphite. I never have been, and I tried to, because I was using pastels and coloured pencils and I was kind of getting the kind of like fur technique down. I kind of transferred that fur technique to the white areas and didn't actually apply any shading or anything, so it kind of looks a little bit odd. The proportions are off here as well because this is one of the first things that I actually like free-handed properly, like without a grid or anything. I just went in and free-handed this one, so the proportions are off a little bit, but I like this drawing because obviously it's my own dog and I don't have him anymore because he passed this year, so yeah, I do like this, but you can tell that I'm not extremely gifted in the graphite terms of things. But I continued that kind of graphite journey. I drew some polar bears because I was thinking about like Christmas, and I actually quite like the quick little sketches that I do. There's like this little polar bear guy. I was just looking at some references on Google, and this was just in my sketchbook, so I was just taking these from images from my sketchbook. But there's some little guys, and I actually quite like the quick sketches, and whenever I look at stuff like this I always think, oh, I should get into doing more quick sketches. But then those quick sketches evolved into fine liner and watercolor work. I was looking and inspired by the work of Louise Jarvis. She used to do like these sketchy portraits, so just kind of trying out that style. All of this time, by the way, I wasn't like selling anything. Obviously I tried to sell more oil paintings and stuff, but I wasn't like in the mindset of this is going to be my business, this is what I want to do. I was just kind of trying to figure out what exactly it was that I liked and what I liked to work in, and for the longest while I actually really liked working in pen and watercolor like this. I did put them up for sale, but I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't trying to push it as hard. But a couple of people did actually buy these little portraits, and they actually wanted some of their own animals as well, so that's kind of where my kind of business passion, I don't know, kind of took off. But yeah, I really like these little sketchy portraits. I still do them to this day because I just really like the kind of loose style, and you don't have to be like 100% spot on with all the colours and everything. So there's a few of those. This one isn't a bad one either, but when we get to like the curly dogs, they're not great. Like this one, look at this one, he looks mean. Yeah, so we're going to go through a whole kind of thing of doing pen and watercolors, because that's kind of where business started to take off, because I did a load of birds. As you can see as we're scrolling up here, I've got some like chicks and foxes. These ones aren't great, but like this little leaping rabbit I actually really like. Again, these were all freehand, so I was trying to develop like my freehanding skills. I just took the pen to the paper, it's just like a cold pressed watercolor paper, and just drew. And these are the type of things that came out of this. Action rabbit, what a caption. So then I decided to try some coloured pencil at the same time as well. So I've actually drawn, this was my dad's boxer, which I drew for him for a Christmas present. Yeah, this is one of my very first coloured pencil pieces, apart from that other little Labrador thing that you saw. You can tell that there's no like real detail or anything. I didn't really follow fur patterns or fur direction or anything, and the shading is is not fantastic, but we can see a little bit of progress. So there's that, and then I do this horse, which everybody, because I used to work in a mechanics garage, like doing the admin and the bookkeeping and stuff. I used to display all of my art, and I used to get a chance every now and then to like work on my art whilst I was there. So I was like drawing this horse, and I displayed it on the wall, and everybody was in love with this horse, and I was just like, really? I really don't like this horse. I still to this day do not like this horse. I just think it is not fantastic. Yeah, then we've got some more watercolor pieces, like this pig. I was going for like a really loose watercolor feel, and some of them really worked. Like this pig I think worked really well, and then there were others that just didn't work, like this chick. This just didn't work. I don't know, I was maybe having an off day, maybe not really thinking about what I was doing too much. Like this robin as well. This robin was always really popular. I made some cards and some postcards and stuff, and he was always really popular, and I just like the kind of the watercolor style on this particular one, and the pig. Yeah, and like this little blue tit did really well as well, and I don't know why, and I don't know, I try and get back that style now, and it's really, really difficult, because obviously your style develops as you grow as an artist, and trying to get that style back now, I just can't, and I really miss it. Here's another coloured pencil portrait for you guys. So this I drew for my mum for Christmas, of her two dogs at the time. Yeah, you can see I was really heavy with the white highlights, like the white pencil in there to get all of that shiny coat in. And at this point I think I started to understand like adding in blues and purples into dark areas to make them look a little bit more, like give it a bit more depth. And you can see in this particular guy here that he's got some purples and blues, and he's got some browns in his ear where the light is and everything. So it's kind of getting a handle on like light and how it affects the fur, light directions and all of that kind of stuff. So let's shoot up the page. So we've got more kind of watercolor work. I used to make these are my old business cards, but I used to just put them all on business cards and like greetings cards and stuff. So then we move into a territory of trying to do a bit more of a cartoony style, because I was just trying to see what kind of appealed to an audience and what I was good at and what I could or couldn't do. So yeah, this is questionable, because I don't feel like the dog portrait that you just saw was bad, but also this, I don't think I'd drawn a bird before. I'd painted birds, but I don't think I'd drawn a bird. But then, actually, maybe, because I've got this robin here, which isn't actually that bad, and he's got some really good feather action going on. I don't know what I was thinking with these. And also this waxwing. What? I don't... Someone explained to me what was going through my mind at this point, because I can't work it out. And I put him on greetings cards with this bee eater as well, and yeah, I regret that. So then we move into a stage of, I'm going to move away from drawing and do a little bit of sewing. I have no idea why. I sewed this pin cushion. I still have this pin cushion actually. I sewed this for myself because I was like, I just wanted somewhere to hold my pins, because I do actually like sewing and making stuff and doing that kind of crafty things, and I was like, I've got nowhere for my pins, so I made this pin cushion. And then I tried to find a pattern to like make a bird, and I was making like scented birds. I'd like fill it with dried lavender and some padding and stuff, and then soak them in some essential oils so they would be scented. And yeah, this was the outcome of one of my birds. I don't know. Yeah, this is another bird where I kind of embroidered on it as well. I think they're cute, but I don't know where I was going with this. I literally do not know where I was going with it. And then I decided for like Red Nose Day that I was going to make like red-nosed mice, and actually I sold so many of these. I donated everything that I sold and made to what is the Red Nose charity? Comic Relief? I think that's the one. I donated everything to that, but I sold so many of these mice and they took me so long to make because they were literally tiny and so fiddly. Yeah, but I went through this phase of making all of these mice. A weird phase. So yeah, going through some more watercolors. I used to make prints and things. Yeah, this like butterfly, I really like this paint effect and everything. And then you had other ones like this ladybird, which didn't actually turn out all that fantastic. So yeah, anyway, lots and lots of watercolors. And then we decided to work back on the coloured pencil some more, and I decided to draw this chicken, which was from a reference photo that I'd taken myself. Like, I went to a rare breed centre and there was this chicken and I took a photo and I was like, I really want to draw this chicken because it had like the nicest feathers. So this was the outcome of that chicken. And I was going through like a farmyard phase because I'd just taken all of these photos at this farm place and I was just like, I want to draw them all. So we have a sheep. Isn't the best texture in the world, not the best drawing in the world either. Didn't really have like the passion at this point. Yeah, going through some like weird, I don't even know what you would call this, birds in hat phase. Yeah, more watercolors, and this was my very first self-portrait in coloured pencil. Let's take a look. Oh, that's a blurry image. Here you go. Does it look like me? It kind of does. I'm not angry at it, but I'm not loving it. Like, I wouldn't be like, look at my self-portrait. Isn't it fantastic? I use coloured pencil. I wouldn't want to brag about this. And I just think that the reason that I hate drawing humans is because I just don't like it. I don't like drawing humans because I don't think it looks exactly like me, and I think with animals it doesn't necessarily matter if too much is out. Like, if you get like a spot the wrong shape or something, it still looks like the animal, but with a person you have to get it spot on, otherwise it just doesn't look right. So that's my first self-portrait. You're welcome. So I experimented with some vegetables and just doing different things. As I said, I was trying to work out like what I kind of liked and what I didn't like and what would appeal to a certain type of audience. And then I drew this portrait of my cat, Suki, not Tasuki like I've got at the moment, but just Suki. I don't have her anymore, and when I moved, I gave her to my nan to look after, and then yeah, she didn't keep her inside, and then she wandered off somewhere, so we ended up losing her. But I drew this one of her, and then from there I did some more kind of experimentation with some pastels, just like a loose kind of, I don't know, style. And then it kind of developed into this guy who I drew for someone for free to help build pet portraits and stuff. And this is where all of the colour pencil stuff started, because then I've mentioned in my other videos that I did this next top pet model thing, and this is what I did. Enter your pet's photo to win an A5 portrait, and yeah, that's what kicked off all of my business. And then ever since then I have just gone down the route of coloured pencil drawings. So here's some older coloured pencil drawings. I used like a Murano pastel paper for this, so that's why you've got this weird texture. But I was starting to understand like fur direction and lights and darks, and getting detail in noses and all of that kind of thing. So I really like these beginning portraits because it's really nice to see like where you kind of come from and where you're going to. So I used to use different coloured backgrounds and stuff. So these are two rabbits as well. Yeah, and then started taking commissions, and these are some of the commissions. Like, it's weird because I was looking back, like scrolling down the Facebook page, and I was like, oh look, this guy's called Simba, and I remember drawing him. I just remember drawing all of these and thinking, oh wow, this is exactly what I want to do. And you can see in the white fur all of the different colours that I've used and like the development on the blacks and everything. So this, I actually started using pastel matte, so this is on a pastel matte paper as well. People always ask me whether I used pastel matte and what I think of it. I did used to use it all the time for my pet portraits. So this is on pastel matte as well. So I did use it for like a good majority of time. This guy was on pastel matte, Bailey, and I think he turned out really well. And then yeah, just going through, got some white dogs, lots and lots of portraits, pet portraits, all of these guys, some detailed noses and things like that. Yeah, this guy without an eye, I think his name was Rollo. Yes, Rollo. Yeah, you can see how the fur and everything is starting to build. And then we just sort of came from there. So I'm just going to continue scrolling so you can just kind of see some of the older images. I really like this. I drew this for my friend for a Christmas present. This is of her guinea pig Flingo. And I really enjoyed this one because it was a different animal and I hadn't drawn like a guinea pig before. I'd drawn rabbits, as you saw, but not like any other kind of small animals. Just some lovely portraits. These were the ones where I started to change to the Fabriano paper, and you can kind of see a shift in the style. It's a lot smoother. I can see I used to share a lot of stuff on my Facebook page and now it's like really neglected. And then you've got the odd picture of my dog, like, oh, look how cute he is. He's not art, but he should be. Yeah, so then we're getting into some more of the more recent portraits, and I think a lot of you have seen like this older work. If you follow Instagram, you've got a lot of these older works on Instagram. But yeah, that is pretty much. Oh, we can take a look at this horse because I was really proud of this horse and I still am. Look at that bridle. He is nice. It's been a while since I've worked on a horse. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I can continue scrolling, but we're just getting into, as I said, the more recent stuff. And like this is like the peak of when we started to really develop skills. So it took like a couple years. This was 2015 and I started, the very first thing that I showed you was in 2012. So it took a good 3 years to kind of develop into the medium of choice and then to develop like to this kind of level, which I still really like this. I love this portrait. I think it's so full of character and I think I've executed the teeth and the gums and everything really well. That's pretty much all I've got. I just wanted to share some of those older pieces and just kind of look at them with you. It's kind of a reaction video, kind of not. I really hope that you have enjoyed looking back at some of these older pieces with me, and I hope that it's kind of inspired you to take a look back at your coloured pencil or your art journey as well, and kind of maybe encourage you to work with some new mediums as well, to kind of figure out what it is that you really like. And I really think that's a good idea, that you should try some different mediums and really figure it out. As you can see, I tried several different mediums until I finally settled with coloured pencil, and to this day, like today, I still experiment with different mediums. Like I've got some pan pastels down here, so I'm going to get out that kind of pastel groove again, which kind of looking forward to, kind of not. But I think it's a really good idea that you should just experiment with different mediums, and you should take your time over it as well and not try and rush something to happen. So for me, it took like 3 years to get into a good coloured pencil groove, and I think that you guys should do the same. So I really hope this has inspired you, and just take a look back at your old works as well. If you're feeling a little bit down about your artwork, or you're thinking that you're not improving, take a look at some of your older artworks and compare them. Always compare with yourself and not with other people, by the way. It's much better to do it that way, and just see how far you've come. So that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you've been enjoying Vlogmas if you have been following along with it. If you haven't, then there's a whole load of vlogs and tutorial content, and I've got a whole lot more of like business kind of content planned for after Christmas, when there won't be so many vlogs. and a few other tutorials and bits and pieces for you as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye!